Welcome back. Here's where you left off. Spoilers ahead for chapters 1 through 6 of Armored Book 2 Sentinel by Mark Greaney. So Armored Book 2 Sentinel. We were kind of spoiled the last book, Leonard. We kind of had this with this audiobook reading, and when we came to the second book, we're just reading it now. It's a different experience. For the first couple chapters, I was kind of worried because I didn't hear Duffy's name mentioned in the beginning. But then when they introduced him, I was really happy. And then I thought, where's his wife? Because she kicks ass. So what did you think about the start of the book here?
Well, the first chapter and first two chapters, it's literally an origin story and how he got in. It's literally his service after the army, going into mercenary work, and his wife this is before he lost his leg and all that good stuff, and Nikki and him it's at the beginning of their relationship, getting having their firstborn and all that good stuff. So it was a nice intro, because what they did is they literally, personally, this is where it gets a little confusing in my opinion, because I thought I was reading book 1 or book 0.5. It's almost like a prequel, right? But when I keep reading, they're just looking back and just doing like a time shifting. I'm like, okay, that makes a lot more sense. But but it was a great intro to the book itself, because there was a lot of things happen the first two chapters that points directly into where we are now, and at the end of books chapter 6, because there was a lot of like names that they threw out a lot of names at the beginning, right? And after all that said and done, we went straight to quote unquote present day, that Duffy is working. Duffy woke up. It's like how he woke up in the last book 1 as well too. He doesn't have a leg. He's missing a leg, and now he works for the diplomatic security services, and his wife is in the foreign affairs, or whatever they call it in the U.S. It's so they're moving on with their lives, right? But at the same time, there's a lot of tie into the first two chapters where they are in. So I can't wait for the next one, because it ramped up very well, in my opinion, right? It wasn't like a slow burn. This was like you lit on fire, it just skyrocketed, and next thing you know, it just ties up very well the first 6 chapters. I was very, very happy about that. Again, there was a little confusion. What do you think about like storyline from the past at the first 2 or 3 chapters of the book?
The storyline that we started off with there, I enjoyed the prequel part of it. It was a little confusing in the very beginning. It was kind of nice that we had the origin story of that. I did find it interesting that his wife Nicole is now getting this diplomatic piece going away, and he's doing sort of less critical security, but he's still doing it. And what I found kind of funny was that his whole the thing that put him down again was a teenage girl. I kind of thought that was kind of funny. Did you find it as funny as I did?
It is pretty funny, but it's like the way the book was written, especially in that scene itself. He was still doing very good work. He's still protecting the principles and the principles service around that person, especially I think it was a Holland or Norway ambassador or whatever of the UN there in New York, and he he was protecting her, and next thing you know, hey, I just found out my daughter, her daughter is protesting outside the Turkish embassy, and it's like, okay, we need to stop over and grab her because if something happens, this is gonna be bad, right? It's a lot of like optics that she has to handle. Plus, now the diplomatic security services have to deal with this issue now. So when they went to the Turkish embassy, the Turkish president was there. He was about to leave, but there's a massive protest outside the embassy. So the Turkish security decided to go headbanging to the rest of the protesters. But unfortunately, the DSS the DSS ending up saving the daughter of the diplomat that they're doing the protection on. In the same time, it was a little too fluid. It was very fluid regarding who is considered quote unquote the enemy, right? In other words, just straight population versus the other security from the Turkish embassy, and on top of that, they have the local police as well too. So there's a lot of moving parts that the team has to figure out. Okay, do we engage? How are we going to engage? Should we minimize the body count here? So there was a lot of analyzing in real time, figure out which one, what to do next, right? So it was very nice to see that. In the same time too, he got defeated. As you said, he got defeated by one of the protesters. But at the same time, it's like, well, if you've been put in that position, it's going to be very fluid as well too. So you don't really know who your enemy is, right? So people are actually saying that all the veterans have said at least during the war they know who their enemy is. By the time they get back to stateside, they don't know who the enemies are. So it's literally the same mindset here. So it was a nice see in his eyes of what was actually happening. Right.
I liked when he's in the hospital room and the Nicole comes in and she's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "This is the part where you say that the other guy looks worse." I kind of like that. I enjoyed that. I enjoy the camaraderie between the two of them because it always seems like she's the adult in the room. Like it's like she's scolding a boy who's gone off and had a rough and tumble with somebody or something to that effect. She's always the one either saving his butt or trying to save his butt or scolding him for doing something stupid, even though he's a grown man doing his job. I like the way that the character is being written in the book because it's been very consistent between the two books. She was an officer, and every time she's always trying to support him, even though he has this disability, and how he's like, okay, we're going to go to where the diplomatic corps is. I can get a job there doing various things. And I'm wondering how you feel like the plot's going to go along, because they kind of set it up in the beginning of the book a little bit where they're sort of setting up the lead. But what do you think is going to happen moving forward here?
That's actually a good question because, how they introduced the book itself, like we mentioned earlier, the first 2 or 3 chapters, there was a lot of introduction of exactly what's happening. So they literally wrote the middle of the book at the beginning of the book, right? So that's what was a little confusing. Would I prefer not doing that? I prefer not going that route, because it's very confusing. There's no introductions like this is from the past, right? That's why, to be honest with you, I almost literally called you and was like, "Hey, are we reading the right book here?" Right? Because it feels like it's prequel, right? So it was a little confusing. But going forward, after knowing that, it feels like the storyline will actually going to pick up even a lot faster than I thought it will be, because by the time we get to chapter 6, they were literally about to leave to Guyana, right? And theoretically, according to the book, Guyana is considered the most secured, most stable country in Africa, and for them going there, it's literally a cakewalk for them, right? So she's doing this job in the American embassy, in the U.S. embassy, and she's going to do her job. And on top of that, too, he'll be doing some protection details as well too, because they said at the beginning that she's looking for an assignment that he can do work as well too. He can take a leave of absence from the service to follow her and just come back after, right? And in this case, they actually have a posting there, so it actually turned out really well for both of them, because if Duffy ending up going to the embassy and doing nothing, he'll definitely not gonna like that. So the storyline actually changed significantly. I thought that he'll be going in there just a civilian, not working. So that changes the whole storyline itself. So it's very, very nice that
I would have preferred that, actually. I would have. Okay, we're going to go into Die Hard territory here, but I kind of would have enjoyed a storyline where she's there, and maybe we'll get that. I don't know. We don't know. We haven't read more of the book yet, but we're leading into if he was there just with the kids and he was doing some mundane job there while she did her work. And then the facility or where they're at, which is probably a hardened, community or a hardened base or whatever. Maybe if that became under fire and you have to like bring up his skills again in order to help people or something, rather than just going off in a protection detail where she's always worrying about him. I kind of like that scenario, or the whole Die Hard scenario where he goes and saves her, where she's on a, or he's on her detail where he has to save her, to that effect, or something to that effect. Although I say that, but in reality, I think she's the bigger badass of the two of them in a lot of ways. So I just wonder if he's going to use their personal dynamic more in this book. Because remember, in the first book, they were separated. They didn't really have any interaction. It was, he was off doing the job. She was trying to figure out what was going on. She was trying to get to him. They didn't really interact that much in the first book. I want to see them interact more in this book, and I hope they have the family life or, whatever moving forward into the book, and then have some other events happen to them as a couple versus them being apart. How do you feel about that sort of thought process?
You're bang on in this one, though, because in book one, you didn't really see the family dynamic that they had, like their relationship, because in book one, they got introduced while Duffy's already in Mexico, and Nikki was trying to get into to Mexico, or she's being interviewed. That's how they actually introduced her in book one. But in book two, it's different, because I'm not sure if you noticed that, but there's a lot more dialogue between both of them. There's a lot more dialogue actually with the kids as well too. So there's a lot of conversation between all four of them, right? And when he went to the hospital after the assignment with the incident in the Turkish embassy, you saw how they actually communicate, how they actually interact with each other. It's very playful. It's very loving. It's very. They're used to it, right? They're not surprised that this happened, right? And you saw that when you're reading it, because you see that conversation back and forth. And I believe going forward, I have this feeling that it may or may not happen until we actually read there. It may happen like what you said. He could be protecting another person. Remember, she's not going there as an ambassador. She's just going there as something else. So because she's not an ambassador going into it, she's going somewhere else. So there's a good chance that he's being assigned with someone else as a protector, right? And if something happens to Nikki, I got this feeling that he'll drop everything and go save her, type deal, because she already said it several times too, especially at the first few chapters, that they met while he was already a mercenary, right, a contractor, and he left everyone to save that helicopter that she was piloting, and her co-pilot, right? He dropped everything, went there by himself to save her, and they haven't really met before, right? And that's how they got together. And I have the feeling that going forward, or if something happened to her, he's going to do the same thing too. He's going to finish a job and literally get out of the door and try to find where she is. It's going to be very close to Taken, the movie Taken. So he has some skill sets.
Do you think we're gonna have a Taken book here? And that's what we're gonna go on. I mean,
He does have some certain skill sets.
Well, the guy in the beginning, he hires the Russians and all that. He goes to hire them. So obviously he wants these. It's a big operation because I think it was like maybe 20 guys he was talking about.
50 people. 50 plus people.
Like a lot of
people.
So that's like a lot of people. So you're either assaulting something heavily fortified, or you need enough people to overwhelm something to the point where you can control it. It's a lot of guys to move around, right? And
it is.
I wonder if it's the idea of taking the ambassador out or taking over the compound that they live at for that many guys doing it. But also the reason for doing that is sort of the big plot question that I have, which I guess we just don't have the answer to right now, eh?
No, we don't have the answer yet. So it's kind of funny though, because when you said the amount of people that the baddie is actually trying to get, we're looking at about 70 to 80 people, right? And that's a lot of people. You already said that it could be a siege, or it could be a attacking a very overwhelming force, right? And it sort of reminds me of the movie 13 Hours, right? And it's actually based on a book, so it's there's a good chance that the bad guys already said that when they were being introduced, where are we going to go and all that stuff. They're going to be trained first before they go to Guyana or whatever for their main mission. Right, so there's a lot of like questions to be answered regarding where is this attack going to come from, how are they going to attack it, why is there so many people for the baddies to put together for this attack. And at the same time too, if you look at the book 1 to go into book 2, if his job is a diplomatic security, right, they're going to have a very limited, extremely limited resources to deal with this, right? And if they ending up going to battle this out in the middle of an attack, it's going to be a very lump-sided attack. So I have a feeling that the reason why they have 80 people, I got this feeling they're just going to spread them out in a way that I'm not sure yet. So there's a lot of questions.
Oh, you're thinking about coordinated attacks on multiple fronts in multiple locations.
That
could be an argument. Yeah, no, that's good. I like that theory. I do. So I guess we just have to read and see. Join us next time as we review chapters 7 through 14 of Armored Book 2, Sentinel by Mark Greaney. Thank you for opening the book with us today. Subscribe so you won't miss our next episode. We would love to hear from you. Share a review or email us at yourbookmarksinfo@gmail.com. Join us again right here where you left off.